Hey everybody, what's up? This is Tim Hart, branch manager of Van Dyke Mortgage here in Fort Myers. Welcome to an episode of the Heartbeat Show podcast. Today, I got a friend of mine, coaches basketball at a local high school, Bishop Verot High School, where my wife also works. Coach Matt Herting, what's up, Coach? How you doing?
Doing good, Tim. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to do the show.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it, dude. And we've known each other for a long time. My wife works here and got a lot of mutual friends through Vero and everything else. And you, sir, just hit a milestone in basketball with coaching, right?
I did. I coached my 600th game as the head coach of the Bishop Verot Vikings. So, it
600.
seems strange because in my head I'm still about 15 years old myself. I've been coaching 600 games here at Vero, and overall, so now it's 602 because we had two games since then. And then I coached in Texas, 91. So I'll coach my 700th game as a head coach here in couple weeks. I think I got
Dang,
five
man.
more or whatever. So I'm at 700 as a head coach, 600 at Vero.
Well, let's get into the journey because, dude, you like being kind of an outsider and just watching you over the years, like you're a massively successful coach, and I've seen. I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, dude, Hurting is a Bishop Verot animal, dude. Your school spirit's through the roof. You're involved with everything those kids do there, and you're an amazing coach with a successful program. Yeah, hats off, man. You've done an amazing job for real.
Well, thanks. When I came here, I never thought I thought it maybe a couple years. Fort Myers is really pretty city, thought a couple years, and I really am lucky. I really found my niche, or niche, however you want to say it. I found somewhere where I fit in and I belong, and I tell people all the time, I get so much love from the Vero community, and when you show up every day, your favorite thing to do is go to work. You're a lucky guy, and I never take sick days, none of that. I always, like I said, I'm always happy to come in, and it's fun. When your job is running a pep rally or a bonfire or karaoke night or the booster club or whatever, or teaching health class, it's a lot of fun.
Wearing your fur coat.
Yeah, wearing my fur coat. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Looking good out around town, dressing sharp. So that's good.
Well, dude, let's get into your you mentioned Texas and stuff, so this would be something I don't know about either. But let's when did your coaching journey start? Sounds like in Texas.
Yeah, when I was a kid in South Dakota, my dad was a coach at my high school, and I grew up in a small town, Canton, South Dakota. Shout out to those guys. But I grew up in a small town there, and winters were super cold, and there was nothing to do. And I guess it's like I always kind of romanticize those cold, dark nights. You hear the shoes squeaking in the gym and all that. It kind of always attracted me, and all those long, cold bus rides with my dad. I was kind of knew what I wanted to do. So out of college, didn't, went to a job fair in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and got offered a job 1 week removed to teach English, because my undergrad's in English, to teach English in Harlingen, Texas, way in the southern tip down by Brownsville. I said, well, I want to coach basketball. And the principal said, hey, we have a legendary high school coach, call him. So I called up this guy, Carl Owens, and I said, hey, I'm going to move down and teach some English, but I'll only do it if I coach basketball. I'd never met Carl. Carl said, well, let me tell you what, I screwed up and hired an idiot. He's my assistant right now. You come down, the bell there. He said, if you come down and volunteer for a year, I'll run him off and you can have his job. So I said, okay. So I moved from Sioux Falls, South Dakota down to right outside of Brownsville, Texas in Harlingen, and volunteer coached a year with him. Then he fired the guy and gave me his job. And I was an assistant coach there 4 years under Carl Owens, who has over 850 career wins. He's a Texas legend. He actually flew out here a couple of years ago to spend a week with me and watch our team, and that was real special. But and then after 4 years with him, prep school down there, right outside of Harlingen, called Marine Military Academy. They wanted to make it the Oak Hill of the West, they called it, and they hired me to come in. I was 26 and came in and took over that program, and I was the head coach there 3 years. Went 73 and 18, had about a dozen Division I players, scholarship players. We played, we'd play at Oak Hill, played in Vegas, played in New York, played in North Carolina, played all over Texas, Louisiana, and so I did that for 3 years and then came to Vero.
So what year did you start coach? When did you make that move to Texas?
I moved to Texas to take that assistant coach job. It'd be the 92-93 school
Okay.
year. So the
And you were
summer
just out of you were just out of college, right?
just out of college. Yeah.
And how did you end up? By the way, for anyone watching this, if you can't tell, Coach is at school, and you may hear a bell or a intercom, or some kid probably run in and bother him or something. So, no big deal, Coach. With how did you end up at Vero?
Well, it was interesting. We lived on the border, and I liked it down there. I loved it. The best people. Oh, it was 7 years down there, a little over 7 years. Both my kids were born down there in Harlingen, and I really liked it. But when I was at Marine Military, a job like that, you're coaching about 5% and putting out fires about 95%. Because you got a lot of guys. All boys military boarding school, and you have guys come in, and a lot of guys might not like that regiment, or other kids might struggle with this or that, and it was really hard. And I decided I wanted to do somewhere I could just focus on coaching a basketball team, not necessarily having to round up guys from all over the country. I love those guys, great teams, great people, and that, but it was hard because you almost had to kind of recruit guys in there, and and it was hard to get them to go there. And so I wanted to go somewhere, a nice place to raise my family, somewhere, in a part of the country where I would like to live, that would have things that interest me, like fishing, or, things like that. And my wife too, kind of, she, was from Wisconsin, but she'd been, down there teaching 7 years, was kind of ready for us to maybe look elsewhere. And I actually came here, drove here. I drove and I interviewed at Lake Charles Catholic what's it called? St. Charles Catholic in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then I interviewed at Pensacola Catholic. Then I interviewed here. I wasn't necessarily looking for a Catholic school. That's just what opened up. So I drove here, sight unseen, interviewed. They called me back, offered me the job, and I took it.
Gotcha. Well, so when you said you were talking about coaching earlier, like the romanticizing about the squeaky shoes and stuff, in the gym at night, what else really made you get into coaching?
Well, I think like me as a kid, poor kid, grew up in rural South Dakota, all those coaches looked out for me so much when I was a kid. I hung around the high school constantly. I don't care what the sport was, I hung around. And nothing else to do, and we didn't have any much money or anything. And they would always, make sure I had stuff to do. They'd give me old crap they were throwing away, like an old discus. I'd screw around out there, and it was an elementary school, throw the discus out there on the track, with the track and field guys, just anything. And I don't know, those guys I really looked up to, not only my dad, of course, but all those guys really, were special to me. And then when I was captain of my college football team, and I played for a legendary guy in South Dakota, Bob Young, one of the all-time winningest coaches. And, I was a guy, I had, his 80s, I had the long flowing mane. Like I thought I was in like
Yeah.
a hair band.
Did you have business in the front, party in the back?
And the earring and all this. And I was captain of the football team, and I wanted to coach. And Bob is a really good guy. And he called me in and said, "Matt, you're a good guy and a smart guy and a hard worker. I think you'd be a great coach, but you need to get like some normal clothes, cut your hair, and get rid of that earring, or nobody will ever hire you." And
Were you going for?
oh yeah, well, guess what? I went out the next day. Old Coach Young was right. I cut my hair, got rid of the earring, got some like normal clothes, and went on from there.
Were you going for the Bosworth look, or what'd you have going?
No, I was more like a Vince Neil kind of guy. I was a big Motley Crue fan.
Oh, you just had straight long. You just had straight long hair, not the mullet.
No, just the flowing mane. It looked really good.
I need to get a picture from somebody to add to this one.
Yeah, I think I got like one of my own college football pictures. But anyway, so Bob Young, it was another guy, football coach. So it had a huge influence on me being a coach. I really looked up to him and the influence he had on everybody. And and just, I don't know, he always treated me great, even when I was kind of a, like a lot of kids that age, misguided a little with the long hair, and thought all those old guys didn't know what they were talking about. And he still kind of hung in there and kind of got me on the right path to get into coaching. And he's still alive. He actually vacations every year down here and in the landings. So I see him, usually his wife just died, but usually comes down. I see him every year in January for a little bit, which is really special.
Well, it's cool you mentioned that, because like one thing I've noticed We got a lot of mutual friends as well here. Southwest Florida is like the biggest small town ever, right? Like
Yeah, right.
you all run into everybody. And I've noticed over the years, you have quite, and it reminds me of like Saban and Belichick and those guys. Like you've got a legit coaching tree going here. And it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you're becoming those coaches, that got you into coaching, right? Those mentor type figures. Would you agree? Or
It's funny. Like I said, I look back like when I met Carl Owens, down in Texas. He's, it seemed like such an old guy, but he was, probably 47 or 48 when I went to work for him, which is younger than I am now, or like Bob Young was probably my age when he was my college coach. Now I've you're right, kind of evolved into one of those guys, or at least I hope a little bit of one of those guys. And and when I first came here and started working at Vero and all that, I was lucky to get a lot of really good people coming in to work under me or work with me, or however you're supposed to say it, to work with me. I don't want to offend anybody. Like,
yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, I can't act like I was in charge of them, which I was, but you can't act like that. So anyway, it's great getting that. Like, the first guys that came in, were the Colemans, and they were with me. And I got a funny story about Greg Jr. They were with me about 7 years, and Scott was with me a couple of years, Guttery, and Garrett Copeland was with me, probably 8 or 9 years. And then you go, Zach Ward played for me and was one of my coaches for about 4 or 5 years. Leland Clifford, who's the coach at North Fort Myers, was the coach at Gateway, was with me a year when he first moved down here. And then I've had 2 guys go on to be college head coaches. Dean Burrows was with me, I think, 5 or 6 years, and he's the head coach at Wesley College in Delaware. And then Sean Smiley was my assistant coach 2 years, and he's the head coach at Fredonia State up in upstate New York. So I have a lot of those guys do a lot of work, and it's a lot of fun, working with those guys.
Well, I know a couple, Greg and Garrett, and they're great dudes. And a lot of these guys you're mentioning, if people are watching this, I mean, these guys are head coaches at high schools.
They're colleges, and they're all good coaches, very good.
And Greg's had massive success, right, out there at Lehigh.
Yeah. And a great story about Greg Jr.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I won't mention the other guy's name. So it's my second.
Come on, you can do it. It's all right.
No. But so I'll tell you, there's this guy. It's my second year here, and I'd had. It's funny, Chuck Waddington. This is another guy, not really part of my coaching tree, but he was the basketball coach here, and for 1 year was my freshman basketball coach. My first year. Now he's the head volleyball coach at Angelo State in Texas, one of the most successful Division II volleyball programs in the nation. So he was on my staff too, and Chuck's a great guy. But he kind of foresaw club volleyball getting big, so he's starting his own club team and all this. So he quit after 1 year of coaching just because he wanted to pursue more volleyball club stuff. Well, I'm looking for a freshman coach, and this dude shows up out of nowhere in the late summer. Played for the University of Minnesota, about 6'5" dude, white dude, all jacked up, comes. Hey, he gives me all his contacts, his references. I call these guys, his old high school coach at Minnesota, all this. Great guy. He's going to coach our freshmen. We're an open gym. He's just mashing, tearing it up. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Well, Ron Davis, this old dude, used to be our assistant principal, kept telling me, hey, I need this guy's driver's license. I need his driver's license. We need to get him cleared. Well, he won't do it. Finally, we're about 2 weeks into the season. No games had started. And Ron comes down and says, hey, your freshman coach is wanted for armed robbery in Michigan. So I was like, whoa. I've never seen the guy since. So we're like, oh, this ain't good. So the first 2 games of the season, I coached the freshman game and the varsity game. Well, it's just too much to do, And we go down to Chili's afterwards, and Greg Coleman Sr. was my assistant coach. And another funny story about the Colemans I'll tell you later, but Greg Coleman Sr. is my assistant coach. So we're sitting there. We all go down to Chili's afterwards. It's me and Father Beretta and Greg Sr. and Junior Coleman. We call Greg, the coach at Lehigh, we call him Junior, and we call Pops Senior. Anyway, here, our group does. So Junior, tags along and meets us down at Chili's. Doesn't know nothing about basketball. Nothing. Probably knows a free throw, 2 or 3. So that's it.
He knows as much as I do right now.
Yeah. So we're down there eating, and I'm complaining. What do we do about this freshman program? And Greg Coleman Sr. says, hey, why don't you give Junior the job? I'll help him the first year and, and give him something to do. Junior's like, I don't know anything about basketball. I'm like, you don't need to. I said, I'm going to teach you a couple things. Just stick to the couple things I teach you. Well, he was my freshman coach about 5 or 6 years. And then from there, went to Ida Baker and then to Island Coast and now to Lehigh. But that's how it all started for Junior. Didn't know nothing. We down there at Chili's. The Chili's right there on College where I live and kind of by where Senior Coleman lives. That's how it all got started.
Funny, man. Now he's having great success. Well,
Great success.
Yeah, all these guys are, but it's a testament to you. Like, that all these people go through your program and your love gets passed on to them and they see how you do it, man. So hats off to you.
Well, thank you.
I got a couple other questions for you here. I wrote down.
Yeah.
What do you think your favorite part of coaching is?
Oh, by far. I just love the guys, man. Like to me,
the players, you mean?
Yeah. There's nothing better. I mean, and just my favorite basketball, I like it. I could probably take it or leave it, the actual sport. You know what I mean? But like just the guys, you hang out, the bus rides and the, coaching them, trying to achieve something together. The trips we take, the joking around on the bus, the, eating at a restaurant, just being in that, fraternity of the guys on your team is priceless. That's my favorite thing. Every day I show up at the gym, it's fun seeing those guys and joke around and talk and, get to know them. And to me, that's like by far my favorite part.
Yeah. I always think that people that don't get to participate in team sports, they don't get it. They don't get what you're just talking about, the camaraderie, the memories, you are a group for the rest of your life. Like a lot of my best friends are people that were on my Little League team.
I know, yeah. Yeah. And that's like me. I'm a psychotically loyal person. And like my guys are my guys forever,
Psychotically loyal. That's a great phrase.
So I like that. So that's by far my favorite part.
What do you think some of your favorite memories are? Let's just talk about Vero, coaching there. Do you have anything that really stands out?
Yeah. I do have a lot that, that stand out, some good, some bad, a couple like, when we had Ricky Doyle, who was, one of the best players in the state of Florida his junior year, and he got a stress fracture and couldn't play in the city of Palms. And we played, and that was the first game without him. We played St. Thomas Aquinas. This would be the winter pre-Christmas of 2012. So it'd be the 2013 graduating class. We had Mason Taylor, who was Mr. Basketball in Southwest Florida. So it wasn't like we didn't have anybody else. But, and we played St. Thomas Aquinas, who was ranked number 1 in 6A. And that was when there were only 6 classes. And we beat them on a last second shot when I think everybody thought without Ricky, we wouldn't even have a, snowball's chance, Mm-hmm. And it was, in our home gym and all that. That was a really special win. Plus afterwards, like Dave Tellup, who's a good friend of mine, who's the director of scouting for the San Antonio Spurs now, was a scouting service guy at the game. And afterwards he said, Herting, you had no business winning that game. He said, you're incredible. And he said, you're incredible. I said, well, coming from him, he was joking, but I was like, it was still a nice compliment, even when he was joking around. That was a big one. I think a lot of we went and played Oklahoma City Douglas. It was 3-time state champs, and it was 4-time defending state champs in Oklahoma's biggest class, I believe. This would have been the 3rd year. And they had the reigning Mr. Basketball in Oklahoma. And we went to, we played them in the Sugar Bowl Classic in New Orleans. And this would be 2013. And we just fiddled around and muddied it up. And we ended up, and they're ranked in the top 20 in the USA Today. And we ended up pulling an upset there and beating them. That was a special one too, because that was kind of funny because we were in New Orleans and, you had a bunch of, the crowd was totally neutral. They were just sitting there, watching. By the end, everybody was like going crazy cheering for us because they couldn't believe, we were going to beat these guys. So that was special, And I'll add, well, I'm leaving out, every one of those Fort Myers High Vero games was special. Win, lose, draw, just to be in that atmosphere, it is, all of those always will hold a special place in my heart.
You bring that up, man, because like that's the one thing that I think I've had a few beers and told you this like 7 times. But I was at one of those Fort Myers Vero games, and it was easily the best finish I think I've seen live in person. And I wish I knew the kid's name. You'll probably know, but you guys had like, I don't know, 4 seconds left and you're down by one. And that kid went coast to coast
Yeah, Nate Howard.
and did a reverse layup, dude.
Yeah. And then we beat him in overtime. That was a good win because we were down 8. We were down 8 with 50 seconds left.
Yeah. You were down big. Yep.
Yeah, with 50 seconds left, we were down 8. And I'll throw Evan Graham under the bus. It's fact. He's a great friend of mine, great coach, good guy. But he was, Southwest Florida Mr. Basketball, was a great player at Fort Myers High, and it was his senior year. And he was at the line shooting 2, and we're down 8 with 50 seconds, and he missed both free throws, and we ended up tying it up. Nate Howard tied it up like that, and then we beat him in overtime. And that was one that turned into a pretty late night.
Well, what else sticks out with me though is that game was over and like everyone's going bonkers, but there was a point like where you were just sitting in the stands.
Yeah,
Like,
I do that. And in a big win like that, just to soak it in. Yeah. As soon as we shook hands, everybody rushed the court. I went around the whole crowd and I just sat up top and watched the whole melee of people in the court going crazy and our guys hugging each other and parents crying and all that. And I just sat up top and watched. And it was, that was a really good memory. Really
dude,
good.
that's cool, man. So what's your, I'm curious, man, do you have aspirations to go any further in coaching, like college or
Well,
anything?
that's interesting. I've had a lot of opportunities in the past to go,
Uh-huh.
one thing now, I'm getting old, but, in the past, but one thing I didn't want to do is, I didn't want my family to have to move around every couple of years. I just, I wanted my kids to have stuff. I grew up in a small town, K through 12, same people. And I wanted my kids to be sense of a community and not skip around. I mean, if other people do that, that's fine. I mean, I don't, that's anything wrong with that. But I
Right.
want my kids to have a sense of stability. And then too, after I was at Vero, 3 or 4 years, I started then thinking about my kids having the opportunity to go to Vero. And that was a big thing that, a big thing that motivated me to stay was for my kids to have what I think is just an incredible high school experience and go to Bishop Verot. And Cody, graduated here in 2014, Allie 2017. And it was just a wonderful experience to have them experience it and me be around them every day and all that. Now though I'm getting older, I don't know, maybe let's say I'm done at Verot in 10 years or whatever, or maybe I croak before then, who knows? I don't know. Or maybe we don't win any games and they can me. I don't know. But anyway, that's the nature of this beast. But anyway, I wouldn't mind doing some coaching overseas. I have a lot of friends. I go, I run some camps in Spain and the Canary Islands and the summer.
Yeah, I've seen that.
All that. And I wouldn't mind doing a deal where you go over and coach, in Europe for maybe 3 months a year or South America 3 months a year and then come back for, 9. I might do something like that, but I don't know. For now, I'm just worried about Bishop Verot and the fighting Vikings and, just I don't know. I like what I do too much. I'm not a grass is always greener kind of guy. I'm real thankful for the opportunity I have and at least to have a little impact on some people's lives and all that. So I'm really not looking to go anywhere unless, like I said, unless they give me the old heave ho, then I might.
Yeah. Unless they make the decision for you. I got you.
Right, yeah.
Which I doubt. Well, let's get this thing wrapped up, but I want to make sure like that, and I'm you must, but dude, coaches like you are few and far between, and you really should. Anyone that's been coached by you or coached with you or anything should be grateful. And you've probably impacted thousands of people, man, and knowingly or unknowingly. And so the world needs all coaches like you. And great job, man. Hats off to you, Coach.
Oh, thanks. And I think I'll wrap this up. I know I'm sometimes get a little talky, but anyway.
I like it, dude. You jam.
I think one thing I do think is guys like me, or like Don DeZagua up at Tampa Catholic, guys like us are, about extinct, guys who are going to spend 25 years at one school, coach whoever you have good teams and, mediocre teams or bad teams and just hang in there and really commit to the whole educational high school coaching experience and not just skip from school with talent to school with talent or not, get it running good and then get caught cheating and then get run off, so I think that's one thing. I think that, people might right now might not think it's that I'm appreciate me that much, but I think guys like me that just are in it for the long haul and as a way of life, I think, that guys like us are fading fast.
Yeah, could be right, man. That's why I want to make sure I recognize,
Thank
everything
you.
you've
Appreciate
done.
all the
So
kind words.
yeah, great job. So coach, you excited about this coming season?
Really excited. I really like our team. It's a really interesting mix. We've ran 4-out motion for 20 years, and this year we really don't have a post guy, so we're going all 5 out. We're scrappy. We hustle. We're mixing up a bunch of stuff. I basically reinvented. That's one thing, like with COVID, did with a lot of us. I got bored and kind of reinvented everything we're doing with the basketball team as far as strategy. And it's good. It's a great mix of guys. This group of guys is real special to me because I have so many of them I've known since they're little bitty guys. You take like a lot of our guys, like the Tahara brothers. They probably cannot have a moment in their life where they don't remember me. You know what I mean? I probably had them, seen them around since they were little bitty kids, or at my camp, or same with like Jonah Schwartz or Andreas Mance. Those guys have been coming to my camp since they're 5 or 6 years old, so that makes it special. What also makes it special is my 2 assistant coaches. T-Boy Ward, is in his 3rd year as my assistant coach. And like I say, with him, Cody, my son, is, went to the Naval Academy. He's serving right now, but his T-Boy is as close to a son as I could have. I've grown up every holiday we did with the Ward. So I've known him since he's infant all the way through. So having him back helped me for a 3rd year is really special because it's family, And then also Quinn Kavanaugh, who played for me and was one of my son's best friends, as T-Boy was too. But Quinn, he's a development director in athletics at Penn State, but they have all their non-essential personnel working from home. So he's back all winter. So he's one of my other assistant, and he played for me from, in 2012, 13, and 14. So having 2 of your guys at practice every day with you, on the bench every day with you, 2 guys who you're close to, who are family, who you love, it makes it even more fun. And then Casey Breen, my other assistant's here. He's a volunteer assistant, but he played for me. My first 2 years were his junior and senior year of high school. My first 2 years at Vero.
Oh, Casey played for you? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Casey was a great player. Yeah, Casey was a real good player on those teams.
He's a good dude.
Great dude. So anyway, having those 3 guys, like I said, it makes it really, really special.
Cool, man. Hey, listen, be grateful, because I know a ton of people, man, that work for a living and hate it, right? Like, you go to work every day, dude, and your passion, you love it. Good job.
Love it. Thanks, man.
Good job, Coach.
Like I said, luckiest guy in the world, man.
Hey, man, good job. Well, Coach, I appreciate coming on. Thanks, buddy. We still got to go fishing one time, man.
We do. I can't wait.
I'll get you on one. I haven't been doing much this year. We've been so busy at work, but we'll get one going, okay?
That sounds great. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
Hey, you guys want to learn more about Coach Matt? Make sure you go check out his games this year at Vero, Bishop Verot High School here in Fort Myers. Be all around Lee County. Does a great job. You get to see him in action. I'm sure it'll be a good time. Also, if you're interested in these type of podcasts, I do one of these about every 2 weeks. Make sure you subscribe with audio, iTunes, Spotify, videos, subscribe to YouTube, like the Facebook page, all that fun stuff. If I can ever help you own a home, give me a call, 239-437-4278. Happy to help you. Coach, again, thank you, sir. Have a good day, bud.
Hey, thank you, Tim. Have a good one.
See you, bud. Tell my wife I said hi.
I will.
All right.